Welcome to the Powerhouse Affiliate Show. Thanks for tuning in today. Today, I am excited to have with us Matt McAvoy. He is the CEO of MaxBounty, one of the biggest CPA affiliate networks in the world. And he has 18 years of knowledge in this industry to bring with him into the show. I'm super happy to have you here today. Thank you. Can you tell us a bit about yourself, Matt?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. Like you said, I'm CEO of MaxBounty. I've been in the space for quite some time, 2005, 2006. So I've definitely seen a lot, learned a lot, and something that's always changing. So yeah, excited to dive into it.
That's awesome. Yeah, MaxBounty has been around for so long, man. I remember when I first started. Well, it must have been 20 years ago in the affiliate space. MaxBounty was one of those places, and you see it in all of the YouTube videos, people showing your offers, and it's nice to be able to speak with somebody behind the scenes. And I'm hoping we can get a lot of information today. So over the years, I know there's been different people working at MaxBounty, but what would you say with so many affiliate networks coming out and about every single year around the globe? What makes you guys stand out, and have you guys why have you been around for so long?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really goes back to part of the reason why MaxBounty was founded. You talk about 20 years ago. I mean, we're coming up on our 20th year anniversary next February. But if you go back that far, there weren't that many affiliate networks. There were a handful. There were the CJs and the big machines at the time, and they really didn't treat affiliates the way like we were affiliates, and we weren't treated very well. And MaxBounty was founded on that premise of doing right by affiliates and advertisers. So, and doing it in an ethical way that we can all grow together. And we're always in it for the long term, which is, we're proving now. So I think that is a big part of our success and a big part of why we're still here, just how we run the business. But, going forward to where we are now, I think a big part of our success has to do with how many campaigns we have, the diversity that we have for our affiliates, that we're constantly evolving our technology for what affiliates need, what advertisers need, and really trying to be that one-stop shop. So you're not just coming to MaxBounty as an affiliate looking for a financial offer, and that's the only reason you're here. That you may be looking for a financial offer, but we also have a ton of e-com or branded campaigns or surveys, and help affiliates evolve into other verticals as well.
That's awesome. So I caught that you said we are affiliates. I forgot to ask you, how did you become the CEO of MaxBounty? Do you have a background that brought you to where you are today, that helps you shape MaxBounty to where it's going?
So I kind of fell into the industry. I think like a lot of people that start in this space, they come across it. I did go to college for marketing, and I was working in for a bank actually in sales after I'd finished, and I realized pretty quickly it wasn't for me where I was. I was looking for something new. I was quite young at the time, and found a job posting for Max Bounty, which was a startup at the time. This is 2006, so we officially started in 2004. So I had no background in the space. I had background in advertising and sales. The two founders that had started Max Bounty at the time, they were looking for someone to come on and work in the sales side, basically bringing on new advertisers. So I took the job, had no idea what I was getting into. I left a Fortune 500 company and took this jump into a one room with a handful of people. I think we were four at the time. I was the fifth. So I didn't have any experience in the affiliate space, but really kind of learned on my own. Didn't do a ton of affiliate work. It was more learning, buying traffic in the early days to try and understand what affiliates were seeing. The two founders of Max Bounty, they were affiliates before they started the network. And that was, very early stuff, some email, display. I think Attila talked about this a little bit in the interview that you did with him, the early days of SEO and being able to basically build sites, submit them to the search engines for ranking.
Right.
That was the kind of stuff that was being done, back then. And then moving into the network, and then quickly the focus became fully on the network and just moving away from all the affiliate activities.
Yeah, wow, that's a good story, man. I know every time we talk about what it was like 10 years ago to what it's like now, like everything constantly changing in the industry. So that leads me into my next question for you is like, how do you think the affiliate landscape has changed for you guys at Max Bounty over the last, say, 5 years? Or like speaking specifically to what affiliates are doing differently now.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're 100% correct in that, one of the only things that seems to be constant in this industry is that things change. You go back to the early days of Max Bounty. I mean, social media didn't exist, right? Facebook didn't exist. I mean, even in the early days of Max Bounty, we worked with Fox in MySpace. They placed banners. That's how far back it was that you couldn't even buy on a demographical basis, on a per click basis. You were literally just placing banners. So I think what we see, and I think it's part of the fact that we have so many different types of campaigns and affiliates. We're typically as a company kind of moving through these ebbs and flows of new types of traffic sources, and then dealing with these issues that you see that are always there, right? Google always changes something. Google always causes some kind of issue, but it's how you work through that. And I think it's certainly harder today than it was obviously 20 years ago. It's harder today than maybe it was 5 years ago to earn on certain platforms. But I mean, there are new platforms that affiliates are becoming very successful with and have been. Like Native wasn't around 5 years ago, and it is now, and you see a lot of success there on the social media side. Whether it's TikTok or Facebook, we certainly see affiliates just kind of pivoted, and maybe their big traffic source in the past was all Facebook, and now they're trying other things. And I think that's what makes an affiliate successful long term, is
Yeah.
not just being in so deep into something that they can't pivot.
Yeah, that's a very good point because and sometimes like in our interview yesterday with Attila when you mentioned sometimes we pivot back. Like we might have been really big on Facebook and then things changed there and then you notice with Facebook things change differently and sometimes it brings back in the opportunity again for certain campaigns to change or whatever. So there's always I think it's important that we understand, yeah, pivot and being the ability to change what you're doing quickly and learning and adapting is key.
And
So,
that goes for verticals as well too. Like we see, you could see saturation in a certain vertical with a certain traffic source, and maybe the traffic source is still viable, maybe the native channel is still viable, but maybe not necessarily with that particular campaign. And being able to use and kind of think outside of the box a little bit and say, how do I make this traffic source work for something else that's not as saturated is really important.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. So, I guess I wanted to ask, do you still have a lot of little guys coming into Max Bounty that, get started and then become successful, or is it more now the really experienced guys that you guys see having like, is there still space for the new guy to come in and make some decent cash in this business?
But yeah, I'd say there's 100% space for the new little guy to come in. Uh, we see it constantly, and I mean it's something that we do focus a lot on. We've never been a network that requires a certain experience level. Saying that you need to be, if you don't make 5 grand a day, you're not getting in. We've never been, or you don't get support because of that. And so, I mean, we work with a lot of different courses and affiliates of ours that help teach and help bring affiliates along. And we do that because we see success in that and these affiliates growing, learning the business. I mean, certainly we have the big guys that approach us and start to work with us because they're looking for a specific campaign. But yeah, we definitely see a lot of new guys that start making $100 a month and then are making, five figure, six figure like that, and growing from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good to hear because it's nice that there's that opportunity for people to get in. It starts small, and all of a sudden, once you find something that works, it can snowball into something bigger. And I see you guys see the value in that, and the fact that they might be new now, but it just takes one method, one focused affiliate to come in that is new, and they can sometimes outrank and outbeat some of the OGs if they have the right, I guess, mindset.
Right. Yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah. So what are some of the emerging things happening in affiliate marketing right now that you guys are keeping an eye on that some affiliates you might see some success already and maybe that the broader audience should know about? Is there anything like that right now that you find you guys are keeping an eye on? It's on the radar.
I mean, our methodology is usually kind of keep an eye on everything, and I see we're pretty spread out. So there's not one thing that I would say is, definitely the top, right? I mean, we certainly see, I mean, based on, economic factors, certain things like the financial vertical, insurance type vertical, the education type verticals. I mean, those are strong consistently for us, and we start to see, more of that given economic conditions. But I'd still say, I mean, there's room, like you said, there's room for affiliates to be successful, and whether it is, something like search that some people think is very difficult. We see new guys coming in and thinking outside the box and growing from there. Or finding ways to effectively work with social media platforms that maybe have become historically more difficult in the last little while with iOS changes and things of that nature. We've seen growth from affiliates there. So there's a lot of bright spots, and I don't think too many areas to discount.
I remember when on that topic of financial lead offers, when the COVID thing happened, and a lot of the call centers started to become pressured because people can't be in the call center, and they had to reorganize some of the logistics behind that, and that presented a challenge for lead gen. But you find now lead gen is coming back to life with especially debt relief, and the fact that the interest rate is so high. Is there Do you find that it's starting to be better now than it was before in that space, or is it kind of the same?
I mean, I'd say there's been consistency. Certainly, we've seen some of the things that you mentioned there, but there was call center issues and things like that, and also sometimes markets had became saturated. There was you go back 5 years ago, and we were doing a ton of volume with things like auto loans, subprime auto loans, and that market. I mean, there just became a point where everybody had a loan. Everybody had a car. So, in the US. So, sometimes markets reach saturation because of that. But I think, we're starting to see now, more of a push on some of those financial verticals. And, whether it's the back end buyers just getting more appetite, or ramp up from the call centers themselves. But really, I mean, I think the consumer demand is certainly going to grow, and debt is one of those spaces as well. We're starting to see now as you get in towards the end of the year, we're having more of those conversations with new advertisers, new debt buyers, as well as you look at the beginning of the year, then you start to talk about tax debt and things like that when people start to realize tax season starting, and towards that first and second quarter of the year, that actually how much they owe to the IRS. They remember it. They don't usually remember it around Christmas, but
Yeah, no, that's true. And you guys are set up nicely for that, where you have such a broad spectrum of offers that you can not only be in position for what's coming, which is Q4, because I believe you guys have some great offers in that regard, which I wanted to lead into. What is the opportunity right now going into Q4? What can Max Bounty offer in terms of that space? Is there an opportunity there? What do you feel is a good thing to mention to affiliates here for that?
yeah, well, I mean, I think regardless of the economic situation, I mean, people still are spending, right? Spending is still high. You look at consumer indexes in Canada and the US. I mean, they're down a little bit. People are still spending though, and I think going into where we are in Q4, with Black Friday coming up, as well as, moving into the holiday season, kind of at that point, and for the U.S. target especially, we have a lot of branded e-commerce type of campaigns that will have those type of deals, pushing for sales in that holiday season, as well as the flip side of that, not just the branded e-commerce type stuff, but we've mentioned a few times now the financial side, the loan side, things that we always see popularity in when you go into the holiday season. And then after that, I mean, going into Q1, you're going to start to, have the debt consolidation side of it, the other side of it. So, I think those should definitely be some of the focuses for affiliates going in, especially that holiday shopping angle.
So in terms of traffic for these offers, what do you think right now is the best traffic source for getting set up for financial to be prepared for the next few months? Maybe not the number one, but maybe a couple of traffic sources that you see other people or you think would be a good opportunity, even if it's a new traffic source.
I mean, I think we've seen. I mean, we have a lot of media buyers. That's probably the biggest bulk of our affiliates. So, we do see a lot of guys having success with. I mean, I'd say the top three obviously are search, social, and then native as well, depending. And I think that financial market, certainly there's been the success with native affiliates, as well
Yeah.
as social, depending on what the platform is. Sometimes we've seen guys on TikTok and things like that as well doing quite well. They've got sort of the peaks and valleys of traffic that comes from that.
Right.
But I mean, I think there's opportunities in all those media buying platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are some, of course, some serious, well, not serious, but some challenges with policy, especially when you get to Facebook and TikTok around finance and speaking specifically on loans or debt relief or refinance, stuff like that. There's some things we need to consider, no matter whether you're an affiliate or an advertiser in general. Some of those challenges are hard to get around. But yeah, there's definitely, I think, an opportunity. And like you said, native is nice. It's a nice platform. I think one opportunity might also be to go direct on media buys. Do you have any guys that go direct to source for media and just kind of like crush it? Or is that like,
On there certainly are some, and you're
yeah,
talking kind of straight display type buys. Is that
yeah,
what you're? Yeah, no, we definitely do.
yeah,
So,
that's cool.
um,
Now, that would be a little more harder, I think, for a lot of people. But I think when you start thinking outside of the box like that, you probably have more opportunity to secure some good placements. Um,
yeah, and I think that's kind of one of the keys too is try and think outside of the box and not necessarily lean into just trying to copy what somebody else is doing. I think you see that a lot, and it could be sometimes the path of least resistance, especially if you look at native. There's a lot of spy tools that affiliates use, but you may have success for a small period of time, but when you're just duplicating what someone else is doing, you're really just undercutting their buy, and then what ends up happening is the economics of it on the other side. The affiliates start to come to us to say, hey, the traffic costs are going up, because now the market's becoming saturated. Then there's a breaking point of rates that the advertiser can pay. And that's what kills sometimes that vertical. So it may be successful in the short term, but looking at what you're saying, looking at things more outside the box, you may have more longevity for a particular vertical or traffic source without kind of you know, being pushed out of the market because the pricing just goes up too high.
yeah. So on that regard, with regard to how many affiliates you have in your network and your experience over the years, what do you think are some of the most common mistakes that affiliates make, whether experienced or new? Probably more mistakes on the new side, but even us experienced affiliates make a lot of mistakes. What do you see? What do you have to say about that?
I think some of the biggest things are one, not having a well thought out plan. I mean, of what you're trying to accomplish, and then expecting success really quickly. I think is is sometimes an issue, especially for newer affiliates. They think that depending on how they got into the industry or maybe what they read, and sometimes there are courses that focus more on the promise of wealth than the actual education piece, and sometimes that breeds an affiliate that thinks that they're going to be successful right out of the gate, and that's unfortunately not necessarily the reality. I mean, there's certainly guys that find lightning in a bottle immediately and are really successful, but it takes work. And that kind of leads into one of the other issues I see is not using an effective testing methodology, and not making small tweaks and then measuring them. Sometimes you see an affiliate, and I'm not saying go out and spend every penny you have on a test. You don't need to spend a huge amount of money to get some data to realize that something's working or not working. But then do that, and if it doesn't work, make a small tweak, make one tweak. Don't make 17 tweaks, because you're not going to know what actually caused it. If it's then profitable, you're going to be happy. But was it one of those things? Did you just need to change the ad copy? Did you need change like one thing in the ad copy, not 17 things? So doing small incremental testing, and then realizing that you may have to look at it over a number of days as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes you say like, and we see it. I mean, we have some of our own campaigns as well, that affiliates of ours run for us, sites that they run for us. And when we're having a new affiliate test our offer, when we're looking at the back end, it may not be profitable day one, but it may become profitable day 2, 3, 4. And you need a certain amount of data to say like, hey, is that actually working or not working? When you run for an hour and it's not profitable and you turn it off, well, that's not a lot of actionable data.
No, absolutely. And I used to run I had a team, and I was an affiliate manager, and we would see people coming into the network, even people looking for offers. They would run it for maybe 100 clicks. They'd get no conversions. And then they say the offer doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, come on. You got to give it some time. You got
Right.
to get some data. What did you do? What did you do different than you've done before? Are you sure all your tracking was set up? And so I think the important message here is, yes, we need to have enough data, and we need to make sure that we're not making rash decisions based on the fact that we might have a small budget and we don't want to lose a lot of money. But knowing about media buying and going into it, you don't have to spend a whole whack of money, but you do have to spend some money to buy data and understand where to make changes. And yeah, one ad can change the whole flow of the funnel, and maybe
Yeah, exactly.
so I'm going to just mention to anybody watching right now, I like to throw a YouTube plug in here to make sure you subscribe to the channel. It helps the algorithm to come up to bring this video up to the top so that we can make sure other affiliates and other people out there interested are seeing this video. So please make sure you like, subscribe, or share this video with other people. And now I wanted to go behind the scenes a little more with you, Matt, if that's okay, and talk about a couple of things about inside MaxBounty, and we'll talk about how people can get access to your offers and the application process. We'll briefly touch on that as well, because I know some people sometimes find it challenging to get in there, and we'll talk about that in a second. So first of all, can you talk about maybe a success story of an affiliate who started from scratch with you, and maybe you don't have to tell us his exact methods or her exact methods, but a typical success story of somebody in your network that came in and started making money, and let's go with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a lot of those, and I mean, I think if it's hard to pick one. I mean, but certainly like we've definitely had guys just like we've just talked about here that come in from a course, one of which is actually teaching people now how to do that, and it came in, started very small, and started buying a little bit using the methodologies we just talked about. Spending enough, tweaking, using their affiliate manager as well. Making sure that we're aware of what they're doing so that they can be true partners, and then grew into that 5-figure a month affiliate, and then the 6-figure a month affiliate, and then to a point where they actually have a community like you've built to help teach people.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
So the affiliate managers that you guys have, can you explain what their role is for people out there that might be wondering? Because some people go to ClickBank and there's not really much communication there sometimes. What do you guys offer in terms of, and how can your affiliate managers help people?
Yeah, so I mean, our affiliate managers, I mean, they're not traffic buying experts, right? They're not affiliates. They're not, going to help you necessarily with your traffic source and how you're to make money. But what our affiliate managers can do for you, understanding what your goals are, what vertical and what traffic source you're trying to buy, what type of creative you need, what type of campaign you need in general. They're there, and the more you use them, the better. To take the information of what you're trying to accomplish and what you need to be successful, and then getting that for you, either if it's if it's a campaign or a creative we need to get from an advertiser we already have or a new advertiser, we can definitely do that. So they'll get you what you need, but also be that liaison between you and the advertiser team. So it's always very important to be as transparent as possible, and that's not because we're trying to do anything that you're doing. Because that is by far what we're trying to do. I mean, we're just simply trying to get you what you need so you can be successful. And I think that's something important to realize, that
Yeah.
we do want you to be successful, because we don't make a cent if you don't make a cent,
Yeah.
right? We only make money when you make money. So when we understand what you're trying to accomplish, we're able to definitely get that for you. And
Yeah. And
that's what
that
your
can,
affiliate manager is there for.
exactly. And it came up yesterday in another interview about networking, and some people don't have networks. And by having your own affiliate manager, it's kind of your start to networking. And if you're not upfront with this person and you become, somewhat friends, we'll say, or and being honest with each other, that's the start of building a network. And I know a lot of people in the industry also often say, well, I don't want to tell my affiliate manager because I don't want them to tell all the other affiliates out there. But you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot on one side if you do that, because then you're not getting the information you need and you're not exchanging ideas. So of course, we're in the industry where, as affiliates, we want to be somewhat secretive of what we're doing. It's just the nature of our business. We need to keep our competitive advantage. We need to make sure not too many people know what we're doing, because we don't want everybody to know. But at the same time, we
Right.
can't get work done if we're not somewhat upfront with our network and our people that we work with. So
Well, and I think and that's a good point. And you don't need to speak with your affiliate manager at MaxBounty and say, "Listen, I'm buying from Google, and these are my keywords, and this is my ad copy." That's not what I'm referring to by any means. It's
right.
more the situations where, if you are buying from Google, say that's what you're doing, that you're buying search traffic. Don't say that you're buying native, or you're buying Facebook, because the information you're then going to get is not going to be relevant to you at all. You might as well not even have that conversation, because if we're seeing an issue with a campaign not converting, or what we think, you know, maybe the creative's a problem, maybe, but if we're trying to advise you or trying to get the advertiser to give feedback, or demographic targeting for something you can't even target, like, that's not helping anybody, and it's really just wasting time. So it's really not a matter of taking that information and saying, "Hey, affiliate over here," because, like I had said before, we're also not in the game of saturating markets, because that
No.
doesn't help anybody either. Like, if you tell me you're buying native traffic from certain platform to a certain campaign, and these are my keywords and these are my targets, and then I go and say that to another affiliate, well, I just created competition that'll eventually saturate that market and kill it.
No,
So we don't want to
exactly.
do that either.
Yeah, and it makes absolute total sense, because you're right. As soon as too many people get onto it, it's done, and then you guys lose in the end. So I get that. And some affiliate managers I've dealt with, sometimes they even do go, not with you guys, but I mean some other networks that I've been on in the past and and currently, where I'm running something or even not running it, and they tell me about what another affiliate is doing. I, with somebody with experience, immediately think, oh, I'm not telling you anything. I don't want to,
Right.
you know what I mean? because you just
Yeah.
told me what your other guy's doing. You're like, what's going to stop you from telling like, and then it just kind of turns me off. Like, okay, well, I'm going to go somewhere else because I don't trust you at all. Or, you know what I mean? So it kind of
Right.
makes sense.
And what we try and get a lot from our advertisers as much as possible is information about demographical targeting, things that work for their offer. What is the most profitable thing for them? What are they trying to hit? Because you want to hit that as an affiliate as well. Not only is that the one that's most likely to convert, but most likely to allow you longevity on the offer. So these kind of pieces of information are what we're trying to get from the advertiser and give to you as well. And that's the communication that you should receive from our AMs, opposed to saying that Joey's running a search and these are his keywords and you should do the same as him. That's not beneficial for anybody. Even that AM, it's not beneficial for them either. Like they're just
No.
going to cannibalize, two of their clients, which makes little sense
Yeah. So I'm
and
gonna,
short sighted.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna lead down the path now. We're gonna close up here soon, but how does Max Bounty engage with its community of affiliates? Like, what do you guys offer your affiliates in terms of information on the industry, and how do you keep people informed?
So, I mean, on a personal level, we certainly engage with, we are at a number of conferences on a yearly basis and, try and engage with our clients, I mean, affiliates and advertisers in person as much as we can. But on top of that, I mean, we do have our blog and we try and post as much useful content on there as we can, stuff that we feel is relevant and something that's gonna help affiliates as well. Another thing we do periodically is we send out surveys to our affiliates, and we actually put a lot of weight behind this. And I know a lot of people get customer satisfaction type surveys from businesses that they deal with, consumer products they buy, but ours are not like that. I mean, we're actually looking for actionable items. Not just what campaign you're looking for. What features. Sometimes we haven't heard. An affiliate say, "Hey, it'd be really great if MaxBounty's system could support multiple postbacks, which
Yeah,
it does. But I mean, that's something that, unless you're talking to a higher level affiliate,
yeah.
they may not even say that if it's not there.
One thing
And
that, yeah. Oh, sorry to cut you off. Keep
no,
going.
no, yeah. So I mean, I was just going to say, I mean that these surveys that we try and engage our clients with, they're very targeted in what information we're trying to get. Not just are you happy, and then yeah, everyone's happy. No, we actually want to know what's going to help you grow.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. That makes complete sense. And when I was about to cut you off, it was just on one little thing you said there about multiple postbacks. And one thing that I find that's helping me a lot as an affiliate myself is the ability to track events after the click. Because before the traditional thing was we could track a click to the offer, but after that, any data after that was in the hands of the network or in the hands of the advertiser. What we as affiliates need is the ability to track, okay, did they add to checkout? Did they stay, you know what I mean? Certain things after
mhm.
in the funnel. And that ability is something that is becoming more and more important, especially as we start doing AI and using automated bidding strategies on these traffic sources to measure conversions along the path. And
And I think, I mean, that's a great, mentality in general to have. It's something that I've spoken to many people about over the years. And one of the things that we push advertisers for is to try and create campaigns as well that add value, um, not just for the initial action, but after the action. We've had campaigns where they may pay on an initial trial, but then pay a rev share on subsequent rebuilds on the same product. So not only are you tracking the success of the customer, but then you're trying to get the affiliate to then provide a higher quality user and just giving everybody more insight into what's happening. And not just, I mean, you go back to the old days, there was a lot of churn and burn type of mentality, just
yeah,
drive leads and advertisers. But there's no long-term business in that. If the advertiser is not profitable at a certain point, they're going to stop spending
yeah.
with you as well, specifically.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. So I know there's going to be people watching this that want this question answered, and I'm going to ask it right now. How can people get accepted into MaxBounty Network? What is the process and what is the easiest way that you guys will look at that person and say, yes, you're accepted? And what can they do that will fail immediately?
Yeah, I know it's a question I get a lot, and one thing that I always try and say is that if you're a real person, we will approve you. The process is fairly, yes, I will agree it's long. There's a lot of questions, there's information required. Um, but we're doing that for a reason to try and ensure that you're a real person with a real plan. And that's really the biggest piece. If you want to get approved quickly, just you don't have to be an experienced affiliate. Like I said before, we'll approve new affiliates, people new to the space. Just say that, and then when the AM calls, if you answer the phone immediately, you get approved. We just want to talk to you, make sure you're a real person with real intentions, and that's really, again, I go back to it all the time, the transparency piece. If you just talk to us and you put a coherent application and say, I'm going to buy such and such traffic, and these are the kind of offers I want, and my name's Matt, and here's my info, you're going to get in. You're
Yeah.
going to get in.
And if you're lazy and you can't even finish, I say this for myself because we used to have a process for accepting affiliates too. If you can't even take 5 minutes out of your day to fill out an application, we don't want you. Basically, is how I say it. Now, that might not be your philosophy, but I am saying that people out there take the time, fill out the application, give your real information, and we may accept you at that point. But if you can't fill out the application, then come on.
We, yeah, I mean, the bottom line is we accept all real humans,
Yeah.
all
Okay.
real humans that
Yeah.
apply. We just need to verify that, and in some cases, that phone call, we try and make a phone call to you 3 times.
Yeah.
We'll try and attempt a contact, and the biggest part of that is, I mean, obviously, we want to make sure that you're a real human, but to start that relationship that we've talked about,
Yeah.
to say,
And
hey,
I'm sure you guys get thousands of applications a week, maybe, but whatever number, it doesn't matter. But the thing is you guys also have a bunch of applications sitting there. If somebody shows any hint of information that doesn't make sense, they're probably not at the top of your call list, right? So that's going to take longer. So fill out your application with real information, use your real IP, your email should be a real email. You should be easily reachable, be ready to answer your phone, or in fact, just call us. Easiest way to tell you're human.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Because I mean, we want to get you in too.
Yeah.
We want to,
Start shaping
well,
your future.
exactly. I mean, we only earn when you earn. So, I mean, we want to get you in as quickly as possible, and that real information is what's gonna do it. And then ultimately too, because people ask all the time about we've changed our application process over and over and over and added and removed. And yes, there's enough questions, but we want to really ensure that the people we're letting in are legitimate. Their intentions are legitimate, because we have tons of fraud monitoring that goes into the system uh, after you get approved and when you run campaigns. And sometimes affiliates look at that like, oh, uh, I'm going to get canceled from a campaign or whatever. But really, it's to protect you. If you're a legitimate affiliate, we need to protect the advertiser, and it's not just protecting the advertiser, because the last thing you're going to want as an affiliate is if you've been running a campaign for 6 months and then the advertiser pulls that campaign down because somebody that we let in sent
Yeah.
a bunch of garbage and they pulled it down because of that. So
Happens
we
all the
just
time. Yeah. In some places without the right thought, like without the right process, it's happened to me. It's happened to many people I know. And then yeah, I get it. It's definitely about protecting the good people. Awesome.
yeah, and I mean we're the guy in the middle, working to make both the advertiser and the affiliate successful. So, but we're truly that I think that middleman that does the right thing, and we want the right thing for the affiliate, but we also have to protect the advertiser and provide them, because that's what creates longevity. And we have many advertisers that have been with us for decade plus,
Yeah.
and there's a reason for that.
All right, I have one more question and then we can wrap this up. Is there any one key takeaway that you'd want affiliates to have from this conversation?
I mean, I'd say the biggest thing to think about when you think about Max Bounty is that we want to be your partner. we want to truly be your partner, work with you regardless of your size, but help build you up. If you're a new affiliate, build you into a big affiliate. If you're already a big affiliate, get you what you need to be bigger. And we're here not to be some, agnostic in the background, not doing anything partner. We want to get you what you need. If there's a campaign, a creative information, that's what we're here for. So uh, that's what I would say is the biggest takeaway.
Awesome, man. That's great. Thank you so much, man, for your time. I know you're busy and I know it's a big company and there's lots of things on your plate, and for joining us today and sharing things about Max Bounty. It's very appreciated. Thank you.
No, not a problem. Anytime. And I appreciate you having me on.
All right. For those watching, don't forget to subscribe and make sure you share this with any other people out there that you think would get value from this. And we'll see you next week.